Hi, everyone, and welcome back to our Breaking Code Intro to Medical Coding series. In today's session, we will dive into HCPCS Level II coding system, which is an essential part in professional coding. While CPT covers physician services and procedures, HCPCS expands our toolkit by coding for things like durable medical equipment or DME, supplies, ambulance services, medications, and more. If you're working with Medicare claims or any facility-based billing, HCPCS will be a must-know. We'll walk through the structure of HCPCS codes, how they differ from CPT, and what the modifiers mean. You'll also learn how to spot common pitfalls and when to turn to HCPCS over CPT codes. Whether you're brand new to coding or looking to reinforce your foundation, this lesson will help make HCPCS feel less intimidating and way more manageable. So let's get started. HCPCS stands for Healthcare Common Procedure Coding System, and it's divided into two main subsystems, Level 1 and Level 2. Level 1 codes are what we know as CPT codes. These are maintained by the American Medical Association, or AMA, and are used to report medical services and procedures that are performed by healthcare professionals. Level 2 codes, on the other hand, are maintained by CMS, the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, and they are used to report products, supplies, and services that CPT does not cover. Think of things like ambulance transports, prosthetics, medical equipment, and injectable drugs. Understanding the difference between Level 1 and Level 2 is key to selecting the right code set, especially when we're working with Medicare and outpatient claims. HCPCS Level 2 codes are going to be organized into 16 alphanumeric sections, each starting with a letter followed by 4 numbers. These codes will help classify a wide range of medical services, equipment, and supplies. Each section corresponds to a specific category, like ambulance services, orthotics, and drugs, making it easier to locate the code that you'll need. These 2 codes will fall into main types: permanent codes, which are reviewed annually and published in the HCPCS book, and then your temporary codes, which are often used for emerging technologies, services, or supplies, and they may be added or deleted throughout the year. Understanding this structure is essential for accurate reporting, again, especially when reporting and working for payers like Medicare. Both permanent and temporary HCPCS codes are managed by CMS HCPCS Work Group. This group is responsible for making decisions about additions, deletions, and revisions to the code set. Permanent codes are reviewed annually with updates released each year, and they go into effect on January 1st. Temporary codes are going to be a little bit more flexible. These codes can be added, changed, or deleted on a quarterly basis, allowing CMS to respond quickly to new technologies or evolving healthcare services. This update process ensures that the HCPCS code set stays current and it reflects real-world coding practice, which is especially important for compliance and reimbursement accuracy. So let's take a moment to look at some of the more commonly referenced sections within your HCPCS Level 2 system. The first that we'll look at are your Ccodes. Ccodes are used to report drugs, biologicals, and devices that must be billed by hospitals under the Outpatient Prospective Payment System, or the OPPS, when pass-through payment is applicable. These codes are reported only for facility-based technical services, and you will not use them from a professional standpoint. You'll see them used in hospital outpatient departments and not in physician office settings. The Ccode series may include categories for medical devices, new technology procedures, and drugs or radiopharmaceuticals that have not yet been assigned a permanent HCPCS code. Even when payment is not separately made, hospitals are encouraged to report all applicable Ccodes. So Ccodes, again, are not used in your physician coding, and they strictly are only for facility reporting. Now, let's turn to the Ecodes in your HCPCS book. Ecodes are going to be used to report durable medical equipment, or DME, such as your crutches, hospital beds, wheelchairs, walkers, oxygen equipment, and more. To actually bill for these types of supplies, an organization must be certified as a DME POS provider, and that stands for Durable Medical Equipment, Prosthetics, Orthotics, and Supplies. Because the process of becoming a DME POS provider is complex and highly regulated, most physicians choose a simpler route. They will write a prescription for the necessary equipment, and then the patient will take that prescription to a certified DME POS supplier. So while these codes appear in the HCPCS book, they are generally not reported directly by your physician's offices, but rather by your approved suppliers. Next, let's take a look at your Gcodes. Gcodes are temporary codes assigned and maintained by CMS. These codes are often used in place of CPT codes, and they may even be preferred by Medicare for certain services. What makes them especially important is that CMS sometimes uses a slightly different definition than the AMA CPT definitions. For example, HCPCS codes G0412 through G0415 will describe fracture care for the pelvis, and they allow for the procedure to be reported whether it's done unilaterally or bilaterally. However, the equivalent CPT codes 27215 through 27218 will describe the service when it is performed unilaterally. So this example shows how important it is to be aware of your definition differences between CPT and HCPCS, especially when you're billing for Medicare. It is a good idea to keep notes in your books when you come across these variations so that you can accurately cross-reference codes between your two systems. Now, let's take a look at your Hcodes within the HCPCS Level II code set. Hcodes are temporary codes that are specifically used by Medicaid programs. These codes are most commonly assigned for medical health services, and these will include alcohol and drug treatment programs. Because Medicaid coverage can vary by state, Hcodes will allow for flexibility in reporting services that may not be consistently addressed by your national code sets like CPT or your permanent HCPCS codes. When working with Medicaid claims, especially within the behavioral health space, it is important to be familiar with these codes and how your state will implement them. Now let's turn to the Jcodes, and these are going to be used to report drugs that are administered through various routes. Those will include subcutaneous, intramuscular, intrathecal, intravenous, and even orally, topically, or inhaled delivery. Most of your Jcodes will include a specific dosage amount, so it is important to pay close attention to the quantity that's being reported. For example, Jcode J0561 is for penicillin, and it reports 100,000 units. If a provider administers 2.4 million units, then you would report J0561 times 24, 1 unit for each 100,000 units that are given. This is an area where common mistakes are easy to make, especially when you're calculating the total number of the reporting units. Misreporting your drug quantities can lead to billing errors and even a loss of reimbursement, so accuracy is going to be key. Your Scodes are temporary national codes, but unlike your other HCPCS codes, these are not used for Medicare claims. Instead, these codes are often used by commercial payers such as Blue Cross Blue Shield and other private insurance plans. Codes may be assigned to services or items that are commonly covered by commercial carriers, but they are not recognized under your Medicare billing rules. As a result, it is important to know which payers will accept your codes and to use them appropriately based on the insurance plan that is being billed. It's important to remember that not all HCPCS books will look exactly the same. Different publishers may format and organize their content slightly differently. However, every book should contain those core HCPCS coding information, and most will include several helpful appendices. Some of the content that you should find in your appendices will include your HCPCS Level II modifiers, a table of drugs and biologicals, Medicare references and billing guidelines, abbreviations and acronyms commonly used within the coding world, place of service codes used for billing across different healthcare settings. Now, take a minute to flip to the back of your book and get familiar with the appendices that are included in your edition. Knowing what is available and where to find it can save you valuable time when you are coding. So let's talk briefly about that table of drugs and biologicals. It's typically found in the appendices of your HCPCS Level II code book, and it is arranged in an alphabetical order by drug name. It provides several important columns of information, including the name of the drug, its dosage, the delivery method, and the corresponding HCPCS code that is used for reporting. Depending on the type of practice or specialty that you work in, you may only use a few specific sections of the HCPCS Level II book. But one of the most commonly used sections in the outpatient setting is the use of Jcodes. There are different drugs that are administered by routes other than oral, such as for injections or infusions. The exception to this rule will include certain oral immunosuppressive drugs, which are still reported using your Jcodes. Knowing how to navigate the table of drugs and biologicals and which codes apply to your setting will be a vital part of coding accuracy within the real world setting. This information applies specifically to outpatient coding. When a provider uses a single-use vial of medication, the vial may contain more medication than what is actually administered to the patient. According to the Medicare Claims Processing Manual, if any portion of the drug must be discarded and that amount exceeds one billing unit as defined by the HCPCS code, the provider can bill for the discarded amount, but only under certain circumstances. This billing policy does not apply when the drug is supplied under the competitive acquisition program for Part B, or if it is a multi-dose vial. To report this correctly, the claim should include one line item for the amount of the drug that is used, and then a second line item for the amount of the drug that is discarded with a modifier JW appended to the second line. It is important to remember that if modifier JW cannot be used, then the remaining medication has to come from a multi-dose vial, or if the unused portion is administered to another patient. Also, the use of JW is at the discretion of your local Medicare contractor, so you always want to follow your local coverage guidelines when applying the JW modifier. One of the main ways to locate a drug code in the HCPCS Level II book is by using the table of drugs and biologicals. So let's walk through an example. Suppose we have a physician that administers an intramuscular injection of 0.5 milligrams of Linoxin. To find the appropriate code, you should start by turning to the table of drugs and biologicals. Typically, this is located after the tabular list in your book. Once you have found the table of drugs and biologicals, you should then look for Linoxin in the first column of the table. As you move across the row, the unit per column will show 0.5 milligrams, and the route column will indicate that this medication is given either intramuscularly or intravascularly. The final column will provide the corresponding HCPCS code, which in this case is J1160. Now we need to flip to the tabular list and locate J1160. When you find it, you'll see the full description reads injection digoxin up to 0.5 milligrams. Right below the code, you'll also see a helpful note confirming that this code is used for both lanoxin and digoxin. This process, using the table to locate the drug and then confirming it in the tabular, helps ensure that you are selecting the correct code and dosage for accurate reporting. Let's walk through another example of coding with your HCPCS Level IIs. This time, we're going to involve a podiatrist who prescribes orthopedic shoes. To begin, turn to the Alphabetic Index in your HCPCS code book and look up the main term, orthopedic shoes. Under that main term, you'll find the subterm, footwear. You'll see a reference to the code range L3201 through L3265. Now, let's say that the podiatrist prescribed a high top orthopedic shoe with a pronator for an infant. Using the code range from the index, you'll flip to the tabular list and review the full descriptions for each code within that range. After reviewing, you'll find that L3204 is the correct code that best matches the description for the item prescribed. This is a great example of how HCPCS Level II codes go beyond just your drugs and injections. They also include your orthotic devices, supplies, and other durable medical equipment used across various specialties. As you've seen throughout this lesson, there are fewer HCPCS Level II codes compared to your ICD-10-CM and CPT code sets, but that doesn't mean that they're any less important. In fact, your HCPCS Level II coding will bring its own unique challenges. To ensure your accurate code selection, you want to make sure that you gather all of the necessary documentation details, use the alphabetic index to help guide you to the right code range, and then you want to verify the code in the tabular list to confirm the description and usage. Don't forget to use the reference in your appendices, including the table of drugs and biologicals and that list of HCPCS modifiers. Being confident with your HCPCS Level II codes will strengthen your overall coding skills, especially when working with Medicare, outpatient facilities, or supply and drug-related services. Thank you so much for joining me for this overview of HCPCS Level II coding. If you found this lesson helpful, don't forget to subscribe, follow, and share with others who might benefit. Your support helps keep us creating valuable content for future coders just like you. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next lesson.